Okay, here we have the Rashash Siddur. This is Baruch. L'hamshich shefa meketer elyon lebet tivugim de'atik pnimi v'chitzon pnimi l'chabad dechagat de'atik v'chitzon l'nahi dechagat. Okay, what does this mean? Blessed art thou, Lord our God, right? I say 100 times a day. Now, blessed, we're drawing God's abundance, God's providence and abundance from the highest crown to two unions of Atik Yomin, the Partsuf of Keter. This is the inner union. Aleph Yud He He Yud Vav He He. This Aleph. Look, every other letter. Aleph He Yud He. That's the name of God, right? Where is Aleph He Yud He? I am that I shall be that I shall be. God said at the burning bush. Aleph He Yud He. Now, if the we call this name Ekye. It means it's in the burning bush. God's name said, I will be that I will be. Remember, all of the Kabbala is based on the Bible. It's based on the Torah that was given to Moshe at Har Sinai, and also the pre-Torah given to Adam and Chanoch and Enosh and Noah. This is all coming from the Torah tradition. So you have the same names as written in the Torah. You have here, Aleph Yud He, it's the name of Bina. It has to do with tshuva, returning to God's path. I will be, meaning I'm now, whatever I am now, what I can become. Tshuva is what I can become. Returning to God's path. If somebody is not on the path of God and he wants to be on the path of God, he says, I will be this, and he has to act. So Eya has to do with Keter and Bina. Why? Ask your rabbi. And now, this is the inner, okay, Aleph, He, Yud, He, every second letter. And every first letter is Aleph, He, Yud, He. And every second letter is Yud, Ke, Vav, Ke. See, Yud, Ke, Vav, God's ineffable name. Yud, He, Vav, He. You say Yud, Ke instead of He to protect the name, to guard. The name is very precious, and we can't even describe how precious and holy this name is. Everything in existence is in these four letters. Everything in existence that ever was, is, and will be is in these four letters. Not in just the physical world, but in the world of Asiya, Yitzira, Bria, and Atzilut. That's He is the world, the cosmos. And you know, I just realized it's not. I always said Asiya is the cosmos, the world of making. No, Malchut of Asiya is the cosmos. The lowest sovereignty in the world of making, the world of action, is the universe. But the other upper 9 sfirot are beyond the universe. So that's how big Malchut is. Bigger than the universe. Okay? So again, we do interlace Ekye and Yud Ke Vav Ke, and it looks like this. Aleph Yud He He Yud Vav He He. This is a name to meditate upon. Just to gaze at that name and meditate. That's called a kavanah, a theurgic intention. We gaze at the name and meditate on it. Burn it into your head, into your imagination. If you look at it, Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan says you look at it for long enough until you close your eyes and you see the letters. That's the external unification, union. The internal one starts with Ekye. Why is the internal stone start with the Ekye? The Aleph comes first before the Yud. Ekye before Yud Ke Vav Ke. The reason is that if it's internal, the higher level is above. Aleph He Yud He is up in Bina, and Yud Ke Vav Ke is in Tiferet. So the higher you go, the more internal it is. Outside, below is outside. Above is inside. So this is again, we're talking again. What are we saying? We're drawing. The meditation is to draw abundance from the highest crown of the two unifications of Atik Yomi. The internal unification of Chabad, of Chagat of Atik, meaning of the upper three sfirot, Chesed, Chochmah, Bina, Dat, the upper three sfirot of the middle three sfirot. Remember, everything includes everything else. So the middle three sfirot have 10 sfirot within them. You have the upper triad, the middle triad, the lower triad, and Malchut. So the middle three, we call it Toch, Rosh, Toch, and Sof. Chabad is Rosh, Chabad, Chet Bet Dalet, that's Chabad, Chochmah Bina Dat, wisdom, understanding, and consciousness. That's called the head. It's also called it's the inside. The middle, or the toch, the within, in the body, we have in the chest of the body. It's like you have the head, and then the toch, the middle of the body, and then you have sof is the end of the body, the legs. So this is Chabad, Chagat Nehi, Chochmah Bina Dat, wisdom, understanding, consciousness, of Chagat, Chesed Gevurah Tiferet, love, strength, and beauty, of Atik. So Atik Yomin is a partsuf. Every partsuf has 10 sfirot. So it has the middle triad of Atik, has a level of the upper level of it. And we backtrack to understand what we're talking about. So we're talking in Atik, we're talking the middle of Atik, we're talking the Chabad of the middle of Atik, the internal unification of the middle, of the head of the middle of Atik. And that's one meditation. In the second meditation that's the inside. The outside is Yud, Havaya is Yud Ke Vav Ke. Havaya comes before Ekye. Yud, Aleph, He, He. Vav, Yud, He, He. So if Yud, He, Vav, He, and then every second letter is Aleph, He, Yud, He. So the external unification of Atik Yomin, of the Ancient One of Days, is what? The Shiluv of Havaya and Ekye, the interlacing of God's ineffable name and the name I will be, of the Netzach Hod Yesod, the lower triad of Chagat, the lower three of the middle three, of Atik Yomin. So it's like a fractal system, kind of. You have everything includes everything else, so you can go deeper and deeper, endlessly deeper into it. Just like Mandelbrot's, you can look up Mandelbrot on the YouTube and see these very trippy videos of going into the fractals for an hour. Keeps going down and down and inside and inside. So that's very similar to the Kabbala, where everything includes everything else. So you have Atik Yomin, and then you go deeper, and you have the middle three sfirot of Atik Yomin. You go deeper, and you have the middle three of the middle three, because everything includes everything else. And then you have the lower three of the middle three of Atik. And then you have the external unification of the Netzach Hod Yesod, of Chesed Gevurah Tiferet, of Chesed Gevurah Tiferet, of Atik Yomin. Why is the external in Nahi? And why is the internal in Chabad? Because I told you, above is inside. When it's Chabad, Chochmah Bina Dat, that's the inside. When it's the outside, that's internal. Above is internal. External is below. So Netzach Hod Yesod, there's lower triad. It's the lower triad of the middle of Atik Yomin. So you learn, the better you learn this, you learn it theoretically, and then when you pray and you say the blessing, you have it in mind very quickly, and you just look at the letters. That's okay. We haven't finished yet now, and then we're drawing the effluence. In Britain they say effluent is sewage, but the flow, the divine flow, and correctly effluence, not effluent. That's on the other side. On the side of evil, we have the effluent, and on the side of holiness, we have the effluence, which is a beautiful word. But because I don't want to confuse British people with a connotation, I call it abundance or flow. So we're drawing the flow from the union, the internal union of Chabad, the upper three sfirot of Ma, Uban, Arachanpin. So what's Chabad of Ma and Ban? So again, they have different levels. You have the level of the Sfirot, Chochmah Bina Dat, the upper three. And then we have the level of the names of God, the expansions of the Tetragrammaton. This is the Tetragrammaton, Yud Ke Vav Ke. If Yud is spelled Yud Vav Dalet, He is spelled He He, Vav is spelled Vav Vav, He is spelled He He. So this all adds up to 52. 10, 6, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5, 5 in the gematria of the letters. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, etc. You just have to learn this, and if you want to understand Kabbalah, this is Aleph Bet. This is like kindergarten of Kabbalah. So everybody has to start somewhere. And then not to disparage the beginning, because the beginning is the wondrous opening when you feel a real inspiration at the beginning. Halavai, we could always have this beginner's mind, like they say in Buddhism. So Yud, this all Yud Vav Dalet 10, He He 10, Vav Vav 12, He He 10, all equals 52. So we call it Ban. Bet Nun equals 52. This is called Ban. So that's the expansion of Yud Ke Vav Ke and Ban. That has to do with the world of Asiya. Has to do with the sphere of Malchut. Then above that, that's all in the last He of the God's name. Then in the Vav of God's name, that's called Tiferet, beauty, splendor. That's also the world of Yetzirah, formation, the world of the emotions. We have the physical plane, is their speech, I guess you could say, also is Malchut, sovereignty. That's the last He. And then you have the emotional level. The inside is more of a spiritual thing. You have physical, and it keeps getting more spiritual. Then that's Vav. So we're on the emotional level, Yud Vav Dalet He Aleph, Vav Aleph Vav He Aleph. So, in other words, we spell it differently, and it equals Ma, 45, with Alephs instead of with His. And then that has to do with, Ma has to do with the world of formation. This name is called Ma. Has to do with the world of formation, Yetzirah. Has to do with the Sphira of Tiferet, splendor, beauty. In the middle of the 10 Sphirot that connects them all. So Ma is very important. Then up in here you have Sag. This is the world of Bina, understanding. It's the world of Bria, creation. And it's represented by the expansion of the Tetragrammaton of Yud Vav Dalet He Yud, Vav Aleph Vav He Yud. Again, Yud spells this Yud, and then He is spelt with a Yud, the Vav is spelt with an Aleph, and the He is spelt with a Yud. That's Bria, the world of creation. That's called Sag. And then the highest one is called Ab, 72. Ayin Bet equals 72. So this all equals 72. This is the name, has to do with the sphere of wisdom. It has to do with the world of emanation, atzilut, the direct flow from the infinite, where God is one and His name are one. There's no good or evil. It's beyond good and evil. In the flesh of wisdom, it's not good or evil. It's only the beginning of good and evil, and distinctions between duality is down in Sag, in Bina, in the world of creation. But from our point of view down here, when we look up at creation of the difference in good and evil, we don't see any difference whatsoever. It's all called holiness. It's all pure in Bina. But that's where it starts. When you're understanding, we ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and that brought distinctions in good and evil into the world. We were supposed to eat from the tree of life, but instead we ate from the tree of good and evil. So, but that's the why we're in this world, and that was a wonderful thing actually that we went down in, because it gives us all the challenge and wonder of this world to grow and to learn and to perfect ourselves. And it's everybody's personal challenge and the challenge of the world as a whole. So that's, again, Ab, Sag, Ma, Ban, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya. Okay, here, so what that was all by way of explaining what's going on here. We're drawing, Lamshich HaShefa Mizivug Pnimi de Chabad de Ma Uban de Arachanpin, Lezivug Pnimi de Chabad de Ma Uban de Abba V'ima V'yashsut. Shefa de Ban de Arachanpin, L'chochma Bina de Chabad de Zivug Pnimi de Ima Tevuna. So what does that all mean? I'll translate. We're drawing the providence, abundance from the internal union of the upper three sphirot, wisdom, understanding, consciousness of the name Ma, which is this name, meaning of, and Ban, which is this name. Ma, again, Tiferet. Ban is Malchut. Ma is the world of formation. Ban is the world of making, what we call the physical plane. of Arachanpin. Remember up here in Atik, the Sphira, the Partsuf of Atik Yomin, of the Ancient One of Days, that's the upper part of Keter. The lower part of Keter is Arachanpin, the long face. The macroprosopus. Macroprosopus. Otherwise, to us regular folks who wear the python boot, or the occasional, whatever. Let's leave Frank Zappa out of this. So us regular folks, we call it Arachanpin, the long face. This is a partsuf. Again, what's a partsuf? It's the arrangement of the 10 sfirot in right, left, and middle columns, right? In an anthropomorphic form of, a bilateral symmetry and all that. So that's Arachanpin. This is the partsuf of Keter is Atik. Partsuf of lower Keter is Arachanpin. So what are we doing? We're drawing the shefa, abundance of God's providence from it's all coming from the very highest point of the Ein Sof down. Now we're down to an internal unification of the upper three sfirot of Ma and Ban of Arachanpin, the Partsuf, to the internal union of Chabad, the upper three sfirot of Ma, of Ban, of Abba Ve'ima. So again, we're going down from the highest Partsuf to the lowest. You have to know that before you understand all of this, you have to know very simply that the highest Partsuf is Atik, that's Keter. Then below that you have Arachanpin, the lower half of Keter.